All rise for the pledge. Okay. All correspondence is on file with the town clerk's office. We'll start with the oral committee reports. The town clerk.
I'm on it.
It's good.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to start off from where I left off last time. So my report's from March 11th, 2021 to April 23rd, 2021. So my office did 117 dog license renewals. With the dog enumeration that went out in the mail, we got 95 new dogs. I did 10 marriage licenses, 29 marriage transcripts, 29 death certificates, 57 copies, and 4 fishing licenses. We just got our new computer last week for our decals, so we can sell hunting and fishing, so we're up and running. We have been down for a few weeks. We had to replace the old computer, which was over 12 years old, and it was already rebuilt once, so it was not worth it to put money into it to fix it again. So the total monies that went to the supervisor was $2,175.85, and the total monies that went to New York State was $513.40. Tax collection. Total taxes collected to date were 3,225 parcels. That was 8.5 million. Total taxes uncollected, we still have 191 parcels that are not paid. That is $826,766. We are now into the 3rd percent penalty phase, which is April 1st through April 30th. My staff and I worked very hard to make sure all the tax letters were mailed out to every resident. It took us a few weeks, but we managed to get the task completed. Refuse. For the month of March, the compactor took in $4,459, so total to date is $13,665. We did 32 handicap renewals. Since my last report, my office, along with planning and zoning and the bookkeeping office, have completed another 36 FOIL requests, and 7 are still pending. As I had mentioned, my office is going to be sponsoring a free rabies vaccination clinic along with the Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health in partnership with the Dutchess County SPCA. It'll be held on Saturday, December 25th at Town Hall, and it'll be open to all Dutchess County residents. This will be open for all cats, dogs, and ferrets.
Did you say December?
No, September.
Oh,
September? Yes. Proof of residency will be required if you're If a non-resident comes in, it'll be $10 per shot. A pre-registration will be required. I'll have more information as we get closer. I have been working with our insurance company to make sure all the bases are covered in regards to this. And my office staff on that day will set up a remote laptop, so we will be able to take in new dog licenses that day or do renewals for any residents to make it convenient. So normally at this point in my report, I thank my office staff, but I would like to go somewhat further this time. I'd like to take the opportunity to mention what has been going on in this town for the last few months. It's not an easy job to work for the public, and to come to work and hear and see horrible things written about you and your coworkers is not a good feeling. On social media, it's been very disheartening to employees to be called unprofessionals, pathetic liars, incompetent, stupid, we care less about our residents, ignorant, need to learn our jobs, getting special treatment with tax breaks, we should all be fired, calling for our resignations. We are a sad group of individuals. We need to learn how to read.
If I may interrupt.
And we are unethical. No?
I don't mean to interrupt you, really, but a report is a report.
Yes, and this is,
This might be required to be talking some other time, I would imagine.
I'm an elected official, I can continue.
I get that.
I'm an elected official. Johnny, you have your day,
I get
I
it.
have
I'm
mine.
just saying, it's really probably not proper at this time.
Well, I'm almost done. These lies are based on false information and underlining sources who are trying to create havoc for their own personal interests. Since when has bullying become okay? Aren't we supposed to set an example for our children that bullying is not okay? When did we lose our compassion, humanity, and kindness towards one another? We are all human, and we try our best every day to be helpful and to thank the residents and go up and beyond our call of duty with smiles on our faces. I have never witnessed a more dedicated group of individuals who come to work every day, even knowing what has been said about them, they keep their heads held high. So I'm here just simply to say to all the employees that work for the town of Pleasant Valley, thank you. Thank you for the amazing job you do every day, and know that you are being recognized. You are an important part of the Pleasant Valley team, and we value your dedication to the town. And I would like to thank everyone who supports us. Thank you for your time.
We have now the Pleasant Valley Free Library presentation.
I can find the edge of my paper towels.
You're at the meeting, this is your number.
Confident in my skills there. Kidding. I do. Let's go to I'm taking over everyone's screen at home for those of you who are at home watching.
Hi, everyone.
Whoops.
That's Frank.
Whoops.
My name is Joy Dyson. I'm the president of the Pleasant Valley Free Library, president of the trustees. We are volunteer trustees. And Daniela, the director, she's here in the back. And I realize this microphone only works when you're facing this way. So I will try not to move my head. So, as you can see in the picture, it showed the before, the fire, and then the design that the architects have sort of rendered for us. Hit it, Frank. Okay. So first I'd like to start off saying thank you to all of our supporters. We've had close to 900 people for our building campaign. People such as Michael Corda, Dorothy Denny, Dee Dee Barrett, the Pike Tay family and friends. Those are some key people that really pulled together and really rounded up the community in getting the support we needed to get this project going. There's been over 80 organizations that have given towards the campaign. Just a handful are up here because obviously you can't put all 80 up there. But a lot of people here in the, sorry, I'm going to take my mask off. I am vaccinated. A lot of people in the community who are involved with these groups and organizations have reached out to us, and some of them we also reached out to. And we had absolutely no one say, that's not something we want to get involved with. We also have support from the Mid-Hudson Library System with the the construction grants for New York State. They really helped Daniela get all the information that they needed to get the money from New York State, and you'll see how much that is later on. There was an anonymous donor right after the fire who gave us, from the Community Foundation, $250,000. Just this check showed up in the mail. It was unbelievable. And somebody else that I forgot to put up there, it's actually an organization, our amazing Friends group at the library. They have literally broken their backs, maybe not literally, to help bring in books and raise money to help support for the new library. Next slide. So let's talk about the design a little bit. And before the fire in 2016, 2018, our trustees of the board met with various focus groups and different organizations in town to discuss what the library needs, because obviously the facility was dated and needed some upkeep. And as it turns out, the physical use of the facility was increasing. The meeting room was always booked, and we met with the staff and board members with a library architect to come up with some ideas on how we could improve the design. And some of those 4 major needs that came out of these focus groups were handicapped accessibility, more meeting rooms and evening hours, obviously more up-to-date accommodations, but with the look of the original building, and they wanted to make sure that there was the functionality for the staff. So what's going on now after the fire? So the current site was obviously not touched for a couple years. In 2018 was when the fire took place. It was electrical. And it took a long time to go through the insurance claims. Let me tell you, it was a lot of back and forth. And then we had to do town approvals. There was a ton of paperwork. We're still doing the paperwork. A lot of paperwork. And of course, COVID slowed all that paperwork down. But in the meantime, we're prepping for the extension in order to be a handicapped accessible building. We're only going to use a 1-level building. There'll be no elevator. It's going to be 1 floor. The second floor will obviously remain, but it's only going to be mechanical space. So that gave us more room to make sure we have the HVAC system to where it needs to be, because the total square footage is going to be a little over 9,000 square feet. The previous building was more like 4,500 or 800, so we're pretty much doubling in size. So yeah, you notice at the 1974 edition, that was taken down, but it is going to be rebuilt. So nobody will panic. It's just like, it's going to be rebuilt, and that's where the children's space will be going. And then there's going to be larger meeting rooms. There's going to be 2 of them, and they're going to be located near the back of the building, and there'll be 14 new parking spaces. And yeah, I think I was going to say something that's on another slide, so I'm just going to pause that thought. So we have Baxter building our new library. We asked 3 different local builders for bids. We interviewed the 2 lowest bidders. We accepted the lowest bidder, and honestly, they all would have done a great job. But we did do our due diligence. We did everything the way you are supposed to be doing it. So the question is, how is this being paid for? Don't libraries have a ton of money? No, we do not. The taxpayers' funds are restricted only for operations of the library. So your tax dollars, the $440,000 that comes out of the town taxes, go for the day-to-day operations. It goes for the materials, the office supplies, internet, telephone, all that. The tax money cannot be used for a building campaign. The building funds cannot be used for operations. They have to be separated. The library itself is a 501c3 entity that's registered with the state of New York, and it needs to raise the building funds privately. Your library is an association library, and it's a non-for-profit. They cannot bond for the money. You will sometimes hear about places bonding for money. Your library is not allowed to do that. But the good news is they can get private donations. So in the long run, it's saving you money as far as tax dollars. So we have raised the money through insurance, grants, and private donations. And so far, we've raised $2.9 million, and that number keeps getting larger and larger, and is probably out of date as I'm speaking right now. So just to reiterate, be very clear, taxes go in the day-to-day operations, private funds that people are donating go into the building fund. And as far as a breakdown of the building fund for our capital campaign, we got 40% of our money from the insurance from the fire. And we've had various grants. Our New York State construction grant, 17%. And just through donations, about 21%. And I have a remaining number up there, but I don't even want to say it because that's not correct anymore. We just got more money. So what is the current status? We're still doing some paperwork. We're working on it. But what to expect next is the little white cottage in the back will be removed, and they're going to start beginning site work. And that's where I want to say to people, please remember, I know you're curious, what's going on? Let's stop by, let's drop off a donation at the church and sneak over and see what's going on. It's a construction zone, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. And we just would hope that you would respect the workers in the space and the area. And all in all, you'll be able to visit it, hopefully at the end of this year, when it's all done. And if you want to help, obviously, you can donate to the library on our website. And also at our website are all of the detailed plans of the library. So if you want any more information, what's it going to look like, what's the floor plan, what are different angles it's going to look like, go to our website. We have a whole page of that. And then there's still some naming opportunities for rooms, and there will be name requisition for people who give over $250. And of course, if you have any questions, even if it's not about this plan, but any questions, just visit the library. They're always there to help. Okay? Does anybody, I don't think you're allowed to ask questions, but do any board members have any questions? Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Well, you know where to go if you have anything that you think of later.
Next is the recreation update.
Hi, I'm Sandy Coe, the Recreation Director. I want to thank the town board for the opportunity to discuss our recreation programs. I'm going to start with our annual egg hunt. That was a drive-through event held at Helen Aldridge Park this year. Our participants were greeted by the Easter Bunny and the PV Fire District ladder truck. We had over 300 goodie bags handed out, and the leftovers were donated to the PV food pantry, along with a pickup truck of non-perishable food items and approximately $83 in money. Everyone had a grand time. I understand there was some confusion regarding Huck Finn's cancellation. I'm really surprised I was not contacted regarding this, so I could have cleared the air and eliminated the drama that seems to be permeating our town lately. For those of you who do not know the logistics of this event, I'll explain. This is a joint event with PV Rec and PV Trouton Game Club. This activity is run by their members at the Salt Point Turnpike site. PV Rec supplies the fish, trophies, and advertising. As we have done previously, we planned this event months in advance, at which point this year there were many unknowns due to COVID. So the difficult decision to cancel was made with Candy Olson, who's the Huck Finn Game Club coordinator, and myself, with the safety and well-being of all the participants in mind. The cancellation was posted on the rec website. Camps. We are excited to offer Camp Sunny Days at a new location, Helen Aldridge Park, with before and after care, which is it's been requested for quite a while. Registration is underway and we're moving along very nicely. Coach Laffin's basketball camp, also a new location at the Helen Aldridge Park basketball courts. Registration is underway and we expect to close out before the deadline. Soccer camp. The awesome coaches Jensen and Aravena will be spearheading the camp this year. It's held at the Bauer Park soccer fields, and registration will start shortly. Our Summer Hoops program, which is run by volunteer coordinators, have agreed to a longer season this year. Thankfully, coaches Chapman and Hoteling will be heading up the two divisions. Registration will start shortly. Depending on the response, we are hoping to possibly have a short competitive basketball season during the summer. Concerts in the park will continue this year. We're currently scheduling the musicians. At this point, I want to call up the soccer director, Tracy Santiago, as I go over some of the soccer programs, and then she'll be adding to it also. So come on up. Our co-ed soccer program has been revamped. As our residents requested for a competitive league, our soccer director has done an outstanding job in providing just that. Our in-house programs originally were drop-in skills and now is a full-fledged intramural league. Currently, there is over 155 players with 16 teams. You have to be careful what you wish for. Our Intertown Co-ed program, which is U12 and U15, have grown to 4 teams, 2 in each division, with the outlook for additional teams in the fall, including a girls' soccer team. Go PV Girls! Our Soccer Talks program, which is held with their guardians, is a brand-new program, still in its infancy, excuse the pun, and has grown astronomically. 60 toddlers and their guardians, a total of 120 participants. It's so big, it has to be divided into 2 groups to accommodate these huge numbers. This is a great introduction to the sport. It is a feeder program that keeps our current families from leaving Pleasant Valley and also brings in new families. Kudos to Tracy and her staff of volunteers. I just have one other thing. I wanted to thank my staff, all our volunteers, our coaches, our program coordinators who consistently dedicate weeks of their time to work with our children to make these programs successful. Kudos to all of you, and thank you for your dedication and tireless efforts. It takes a village to raise a child, as Tracy tells me all the time. Last but not least, I also want to thank the board members that support me, my staff, our volunteers, the recreation programs, including our parks and facilities, and most of all, the residents of Pleasant Valley. I'll give it to Tracy.
There's not much more to add to the rec update other than we've been talking about restructuring soccer and getting a full spring program here since I became the soccer director. A lot of people were very excited that it was an open discussion. I never ever thought in a million years it would become what it has. Honestly, I would have been very happy with 2 small teams in each division playing each other, and they just keep rolling in. We are one of the last towns with a soccer program that now offers a year-round soccer program, and I think that the people have spoken. They're very excited to see it, very excited to be in it. And it's not just the soccer families that normally come out. There are a lot of soccer families that pick and choose to do baseball and softball. I don't know how people do both. I certainly can't, and I'm perfectly happy sticking with soccer and my kids. But we have a lot of new families in town. We have a lot of new families. I am seeing older kids come out who have never played soccer before. I am seeing people new to our community that are finding us and seeing the kind of community we are through soccer. And it's it's exciting. It really is one of the reasons that keeps me going. It's one of the reasons why I don't mind that all of my dirty laundry is piling up at home. What else? I do have some people to thank so far this season. Sophia Santiago, my daughter, I'm so proud, and Sandy Coe for their preseason help in scooping the poop at Bower Park. It was a lot of poop. So much poop that when I was lining fields, I went on Amazon and I bought little white flags. And when we went to poop scoop, I put them out. And the picture was so awful that I decided not to post it. For everyone who scoops their poop at Bower Park, I'm grateful. Keep up the good work. And for everybody who lets their dogs run around the park and poop wherever they like, I will buy you baggies if you need it. Come find me.
I just want to say the guys put in the doggy pooper station.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and
Everybody. At the beginning of April, I was told by a very proud coach that one of her U15 soccer players, Emmerich Lumen, he needed to choose a middle school honor society community service project, and he chose to help by cleaning up Bower Park and picking up trash. I'm very grateful for the young people who see a need and do it selflessly. Glenn Froese, a PV soccer director of yesteryear, has decided to move on to a new community in his retirement. In addition to wishing him well, we need to thank him for his generous donation of soccer balls, pennies, other equipment for the PV Rec soccer program to use. He has been an enormous help to me and guiding me through my earlier part of being the soccer director here in Pleasant Valley. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the coaches and the parent volunteers who come out and show up. It is really, really hard to get parents to see past the the responsibility of coaching a child. It is not hard, but it definitely takes a certain kind of person. And I am totally grateful for these coaches to dedicate their time to research skills and drills, to show up and care for these kids and want to teach them a skill that they're going to carry on for a long time. And it's not just soccer skills, it's team skills, it's communication skills, it's just so much more. Team sports is so much more. It's so important. It has such a value in our community, and I'm grateful for all of the parent help and coaches. So thanks, guys. Some of you are in here. That's it. Yes, some.
Thanks, Tracy.
Next is the Peckham materials presentation.
Good evening, board members. My name is Bob Yaremko, and I'm Assistant Vice President for Peckham. And thank you for allowing the time for us to talk. There'll be two other people from Peckham just making some short statements, and thank you for your service. I'm here tonight to discuss the rezoning petition previously presented to the board. To begin with, I'd like to note that we drafted the petition believing it provided sound land use planning that would benefit the town, our neighbors, and our company for generations to come. While we still believe this is the case, we've realized that the traditional ways of reaching out to neighbors, primarily with in-person and public meetings, have not been possible due to COVID. We believe that our inability to have face-to-face communications, bring people out to the quarry, has seriously hindered our efforts and resulted in misunderstandings and misinformation filling the void on social media. To that end, we're taking three important steps. One, Peckham is withdrawing its petition so that we may work more closely with the neighbors to provide accurate information so that everyone can understand and make their own judgment on the petition and future lands. We believe that Better communication is vital, regardless whether the petition goes forward now or some future time. We're planning to again start community open houses once COVID restrictions have been lifted. We started doing this several years ago and find it very rewarding and also opening people's eyes to see what goes on behind North Avenue, those woods. People are really amazed at when they go down and see the quarry and how we operate. So we will start that again. We think it's an opportunity for the public to tour our operations and, more importantly, to learn about exactly what we do. To address concerns, and we've talked about this in the past, concerns about wells. We're going to continue to work with DEC by adding a well permit condition to our mining permit. The condition will outline a strict process that we will follow and DEC will oversee in the event that a neighbor has a problem with their well that they believe is coming from the quarry. And to be clear, since we've operated the quarry in 2012, we've never had a neighbor come to us with a well problem that was been found to come from our operation. In closing, as we have noted in the past, the quarry has provided critical construction materials since 1937. As our nation rebounds from the COVID crisis, our quarry will continue to provide these materials that are essential to the building of the region's infrastructure for generations to come. We hope to continue to work with this board, community leaders, and our neighbors in order to address their concerns and continue to look for ways that we can reduce our impact on the community. We also encourage people to come out to the quarry and visit us. We have an open gate. If you want to come and see what's going on there, please call the quarry, stop in, we'll give you a tour. And again, we're going to be having open houses to allow people to come in freely. And that's what I have. We do have two other people that would like to speak quickly. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Sutmeyer. I'm Vice President with Peckham Materials. Here to address an agenda item that was brought up during the Town Board Workshop meeting on April 7th. At the time, an agenda item listed as Wappingers Creek cleanup turned into a public bashing of our company and quarry. During the meeting, a letter from Pace Environmental dated September 15th, 2020 was presented by a board member. The Pace letter outlined a notice of violation and intent to file suit under the Clean Water Act for alleged discharging polluted water into this Wappingers Creek. What followed was a questioning of the board on the letter, as it appeared that some board members were blindsided by the letter, along with public comments as they read the allegations outlined in the letter. As members of our company watched this all unfold on the board's live stream, we were shocked at the accusations and questioned why wouldn't the board contact someone from our company to discuss the letter or ask that we be present at the workshop meeting to respond to the accusations made in the letter. The problem with the letter and the public bashing at the meeting is that this board and the members of the public at the meeting were deceived. Yes, you were deceived. Our company did receive a Pace letter in 2020 and immediately responded to the accusations by following up with New York State DEC, who then contacted Pace. In summary, Pace believed stormwater from the quarry was being discharged from a concrete pipe adjacent to the quarry. In reality, the concrete pipe was installed by the prior quarry owner, Dutchess Quarry and Supply, in 2008. It was never used to discharge stormwater. Peckham Materials purchased the quarry in 2012 and never used the pipe for any purpose at all. To be clear, not 1 ounce of water from the quarry was ever discharged from a pipe into the Wappingers Creek. New York State DEC investigated the issue. Pace followed the investigation, and no suit was ever filed by Pace or any other entity. As you know, in the meeting online, we delivered all the correspondence with DEC clarifying the Pace issue to the town board the day after the workshop. Our only wish is that we would have given an opportunity to present the complete file on this issue before the entire town board and the public were misled and deceived. In moving forward, we want to ensure this board that we will continue to operate the quarry in full compliance with all permits and environmental standards. Our company is committed to improving our operations and being a good neighbor. We strive for full transparency and welcome anyone to come visit and see how we operate. We trust that in the future, if an issue arises with this board or future boards, we will work together to understand the issue and come to a solution. Thanks very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin McCarthy. I live on Creek Road in Pleasant Valley. As a resident of Pleasant Valley, I would like to voice my extreme disappointment with the way the board reacted to the misinformation that is constantly being hurled at them. Any accusation, true or false, that is made about a local business or person should be thoroughly vetted before a public bashing takes place. In this time of cancel culture and gotcha moments, it seems as though anyone can spew venom pointed at anyone who may disagree with them, not to have the same opinion, and there is no accountability. For the board to act in this fashion has done a huge disservice to the community and to the businesses. I'll do a little analogy to reflect on something that was said during the workshop about the fishing in the creek. People in this community are throwing chum or misinformation out there to see if there are any nibbles or any overreactions, and folks on this board fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Never mind a nibble. Some of the folks will purposely mislead the facts or not disclose the whole truth to get to what they want, dare I say, fake news. May I suggest that before another business is slandered against in a public format, that the board go through the proper protocols and vet all the information that it receives. Thank you.
At this point, I guess I'll make a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Before we do that, I just want to reiterate, it's going to be a 3-minute, one person only, and today I'm going to enforce it. John Baxter is going to be the timekeeper, and when your 3 minutes is up, sit down, and that's it. Also, I don't want any debate between the town board members and the residents. It just takes too much time, and I want to remind everybody, we do not even have to open this to the public. This is not a public hearing. This is a town board meeting. But out of the courtesy by prior boards and precedent, we have always opened it to the public, and we continue to do so. But we're going to set the rules now. So I just want to remind everybody, 3 minutes, that's it.
Mr. Supervisor, can I also add that that means that as board members, when somebody is speaking, we don't cut in on them, we don't start an argument with them, we let them speak for their 3 minutes and leave them alone.
That's correct.
Yes.
I'll remake the motion to open the meeting to the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whoever wants to, yeah.
Do I have to keep my mask on?
No, but just pull the mic down for your. Just state your name and where you live.
Amy Rickard, Oxford Road. Can you hear me?
I can see that I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to talk as fast as I can. Okay. My husband and I live in Pleasant Valley with 3 children. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of hundreds of wonderful families and friends we have made since moving to this town. Pleasant Valley is our town, not just your town. This town is not just the town of a few social media complainers. I believed in voting for board members that represent me and my interests, and actually Ms. Albrecht and Ms. Mazzella are in fact representing everything I want in this town. I'm disgusted at the fighting and the lack of cooperation I see with our current board. I'm specifically referring to the other board members. I see argue, obstruction, backing down on support for things they previously stood for or voted on, reversing opinions on issues that are better for our community. The single embarrassment of not wanting to pay for postage, that speaks volumes of your character. Now you're slinging mud anywhere you can on social media and waiting to see where it sticks. Grow up, we are adults. You do not represent me and my family. I want better parks. I've waited years. I wish you were a mother dealing with young children, preschoolers, snacks, baseball bags, helmets, soccer balls, and strollers. Now figure out how to take them to pee in a porta potty. You clearly have absolutely no idea what it's like in 2021 to have a family, and it's absurd that this town won't spend a dime fixing it. I want better. All of the mothers want better. We will be voting. We had a glimmer of hope in finally sending out for contract bids for bathrooms to finally get moving after a decade. I read the plans, I watched the meetings, the information is there. We have the money. Please get moving. The fact that certain board members have worked behind the scenes to lie and discredit these plans and use other citizens as their mouthpieces, again, on social media, you're an embarrassment. I cannot wait to garner every single ounce of support in this town to vote for people that represent us. The initial petition is now going to cost us $20,000 in a special election. You don't want to pay for postage, but $20,000 is okay? How embarrassing. We are making sure that everyone knows who was involved in this petition. We want it to stop. You made the mistake thinking you were the loud majority, going against the things we want. You have awoken the beast that is Pleasant Valley families. We are here and we are mad. We will vote. I strongly hope the obstructionist board members and the people they've hired to do their mudslinging stop. Please stop. Please get off of Facebook. Take a minute, think of others, be kind. We are tired of it. We are tired of all of it. We are just families trying to make our town great. We want flushable toilets, camp, parks. We are parents, families, coaches, and leaders. We are just as important as the opposers to this. We are just as important as the library. We are listening and we are watching to what comes next. Did I make it? Okay, thanks. I'm just going to leave my seat too so someone else can come in. Go ahead.
I'm going to take this off. Good evening, Mike Reifenberg. I'm here tonight in support of the improvements to our rec facilities. I've lived in Pleasant Valley for most of my life. I know what it's like to be a child, a teenager, adult, and now a father here in Pleasant Valley. We can do better as a town. It's apparent that as a town, we have put our parks and rec activities on the back burner for decades. These items are more needed now than ever with the COVID pandemic and people looking for things to do outside. There was a petition circulated to send this project to a vote by the residents after the resolution was unanimously passed by this board without a single question being asked by any board member. I believe it's an important right to our residents that they can go out and send this to a town-wide vote, and I think the intentions of this were innocent to begin with. Unfortunately, after looking at the petitions that were filed, I believe this has turned into more of a political stunt because it's a local election year. Again, not a single member of this board asked a single question or had any concerns when it came to voting on funding this project. Some would be surprised that 2 members of this board sitting here tonight signed this petition and have attended 3 public meetings since signing that petition, and I haven't heard them address any of their concerns in public. I understand maybe circumstances have changed, or it was possible you didn't understand all the facts when you voted, but isn't that job of yours to ask the questions before voting on something? Because now we potentially have to spend thousands of dollars because you didn't have those discussions before voting. The money being spent on these improvements are funds that the town already has, and it's not costing the taxpayers money to make our town better, which is why I stand behind these improvements 100%. I've heard the argument made that this is going to cost us for maintenance, cleaning, and electricity, which I believe is accurate. But let's be realistic. Those costs are going to be minimal, and I believe we already have more than enough money in the budget to cover it. Let me give you 2 examples. Maybe we could fund the maintenance with the $15,000 raise we are paying our assessor this year. I brought this up during public comment portions at 2 different meetings last year and was told it wasn't going to happen. That's more than a 50% increase from last year to work the same amount of hours and to work only 2 days in this building. I think that money would cover at least a decade worth the cost of whatever this expansion is. Or maybe the money that we have spent on mileage for past elected officials to do their personal shopping at Sam's Club and Fishkill. Maybe we could have used that money to pay for the maintenance and the electricity costs. My point is, we have the money to maintain any improvements or additions we do within the rec department without raising any taxes. We shouldn't be fighting over making our town better for the future generations. I hope the 5 of you have an in-depth conversation later in tonight's meeting about this project, and we discuss how you can work together to make this and future improvements happen. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Phil Epicino, Ravine Road. I don't want to get started yet. I want to introduce a gentleman that's here that's very familiar with the situation that was brought up at the last board meeting or the workshop regarding the discharge that went into the Wappingers Creek. It's not only the pipe, it's also the banks, the runoff. There was a catch basin involved. If you read the notice of intent to sue, basically the pipe was removed and the DEC said now they're in compliance. Well, the problem we have is, what's not in compliance is the silt is in the bottom of the creek. It's sitting there. And if you poke a stick in it, you see a cloud go down in Wappingers Creek. There were samples taken on Saturday, which, Craig, if you want to put those out, please, of the material is sitting on the bottom of the creek right now. And there's some bags with the material that was dried. And if you look at that material, it's very evident that is not silt that's in the bottom of the creek normally. This is runoff from the quarry. It's been going on for years. There's photographs of it. And I want George to explain it to you a little more. His name is George Jackman from Riverkeeper. He's an expert on this, and I'll let him take over from here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is George Jackman, Dr. George Jackman. I'm the Senior Habitat Restoration Manager from Riverkeeper. In the autumn of 2019, we received a watchdog complaint about contamination of the Wappingers Creek. I was invited, I was tasked to come down and see this myself and conduct a survey. And I came down after a rainstorm. It was in October of 2019, and I visited last summer in 2020. Based on what I saw that day, that pipe was being utilized for something. I have no idea. There was a plastic corrugated pipe coming from a cement pipe. It was, there was rebar holding it in place. There was a rubber mat directing it into the Wappingers Creek, and then there was a silt curtain all directing it into the creek. What it was used for, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. But obviously, somebody took great pains and labors to introduce that to that pipe. That was relatively new. That was not old from 2008. Then when I looked at, I saw the whole bank of allochthonous material being mobilized from uphill down into the creek. The whole bank was covered in sediment, gray sediment, unnatural. It was covering leaves, the entire bank for hundreds of yards. When I looked upstream of the creek, where upstream of the quarry, there was natural cobble formations. There was no silt. There was life. I looked for macroinvertebrates. I saw macroinvertebrates. I saw fish species. When I moved where the sediment was mobilized into the creek, the whole creek bottom was covered in sediment. You could not see the boulders. Every step released a cloud of sediment. There was no life whatsoever in the creek. There were no macroinvertebrates. There were no insects, no microinvertebrates. There were no freshwater mussels. There were no fish species. Just downstream is where Trout Unlimited built a habitat project it was a spawning, and it was also a nursery habitat for wild trout. That was completely smothered. I came back with a Orvis fly fishing guide and Trout Unlimited, Mid-Hudson Trout Unlimited members. They were in tears what they saw to the creek. The creek was absolutely lifeless alongside of Peckham, the quarry. That's all I can tell you what I saw. And then I reported it to Riverkeeper, and Riverkeeper sent it to the Pace Clinic. At some point after that, that pipe, that plastic corrugated pipe, the rubber mat, and the curtain were thrown back into the creek. Whoever took it off did not make pains to remove it at all. They just threw it in the creek and showed complete
That's it.
and utter disregard for the creek.
It came to my attention that some kids want us to come in and speak.
Yeah.
If it's okay with their parents, the constables are asking for our approval, if it's okay with us.
Also, if we can just get this, because we have a person sitting behind this, if we can maybe just put it maybe over there.
Yeah, sure.
Phil, if you don't mind, like, maybe we could just put it over there, that way it's not like blocking a... Yeah, like right in the corner over there. But then he's gonna be blocked.
No, he means like put it on the floor.
Oh, yeah, you can put it, if you wanna stand it on the floor in front of the table.
Can we do that? What do you want? Hold it up.
You know, take it off the stand.
I was hiding, Jen. Just going back. Go
Huh?
back. I was hiding.
I'm sorry, I let your...
You wanted to scare the crowd.
Hi, my name's Kevin Fischetti. I'm not here by my own choice. Phyllis there is a neighbor, and we just happen to be here because this guy's 308 Forest Valley Road backyard happens to be our front yard. The following is a list of questions that we would like to have answered, and questions 1 through 14 have been asked in prior correspondence to the town, but to date have not received anything in writing from the town regarding these concerns. Has there been an environmental impact statement done for the fill being added? Does the type of change to a person's property require any type of permits and have been applied for and renewed? Is there a limit to the amount of fill a person can add to his property? Was there any engineering required prior to and will there be done at the completion of the project? Will a revised plot plan be required to be filed by the town at completion of the project? Are there any limitations to the amount of incline that can be created? You have pictures there, before and after. Since the drainage contours have been altered so drastically, what recourse is there if damage occurs this year or next or at any other point? Where exactly did 4,000 yards plus, maybe up to 10,000 yards, come from? Gas stations, sidewalk, pipelines? There's all kinds of stuff in here. Do regulations allow for the fill to contain concrete? If it is determined that the fill does not meet DEC or town guidelines, will the fill be removed, and will the town require it to be removed? Ultimately, who is responsible for the cleanup should something happen? It is customary for the town's responsibility for the repair of a road and drainage pipe for damage done because of the excessive use of the town's road. Are there other complaints within the town of Pleasant Valley for similar dumping at any other properties with the town jurisdiction? What if any citizens and/or fines have been issued? regarding to 2 notices of violations in order to remedy, how long does the homeowner have to comply? Will the town require the repairs to be done on the silt fence that is currently failing to control the runoff? How was it determined that the town highway department needed to extend existing drainage pipe? Was it extended because the highway department was aware the additional fill was being brought in and it needed to be extended? Does the town have the drainage easements which allow the extension of the pipe and the additional work to be performed? Primary reason why the pipe was crushed was because trucks were using the side of the property as an illegal driveway entrance to drop the fill. Why were taxpayer dollars used to complete the repairs and the additional work? Were any town funds misappropriated to complete this work? Why did the highway department perform this work without contacting the zoning department to determine if this type of work met town requirements? As has been determined, the amount of fill that has been brought in exceeds the amount allowed. When can we expect that the excess fill would be removed? We have been advised that legal action has been taken against the homeowner to remedy the situation. What issues are being addressed in that lawsuit, and can we be notified exactly to what actions are being taken? Well, you have the rest to read.
Should we let, Frankie, you want to let the kids in? Do you want to let the kids in so that they can go?
Yeah, let the, Ron, do you want to just let all the kids in? Let
I just want to finish up what he did, and then I'll be done. I'm not going to be long. I'm not even going to be...
She wants to finish the back end of her
I'm just
paper.
following up on him. Sorry? Yeah, my name is Phyllis.
Sorry.
Thank you. And I live on Forest Valley Road, and those photos I gave you are from my backyard and everything that I've seen there. And for over a year, I've been contacting the town. I've been contacting DEC. I've been contacting anybody I could, because as soon as they started taking all the trees down in their backyard, I freaked out. And then when they started bringing in the trucks every morning at 8 o'clock, you would hear the dump truck start. You knew what time it was. You didn't need an alarm, because they would come in and they would go all day long dropping fill. And I kept calling everybody, and everybody told me that there was nothing I could do. And I can't understand how there's nothing I can do, because I have a stream that runs down the side of my driveway underneath it, and then it heads down to the creek. It goes through Kevin's backyard. It goes down into the town, and now all of a sudden they've changed everything so that you can actually stand in front of it, their hill, the mound they have in the backyard, in the rain, and watch the ground actually already start coming down and eroding. And so people have come and looked at it. Nobody gets back to us. I had the woman from one of the things telling me how DEA came out, they looked at it, everything looked fine, but the slope of the land, yes, is bad, and we're probably going to have an erosion problem, and we should take it up with the town. So here we are, help, okay? I mean, because if this happens to us, it could happen to anybody. It looks really bad, it's undermining the ground, and it's eroding everything. And if these people, they could move out next week, they could move out next year, and we may not see the real aftermath of this until they're gone. And then what do we do? And like I said, it goes right into the town's water system, and everybody's acting like it's nothing. Thank you. Go kids.
Where do you want them to go?
the microphone.
Hello, my name is Amelia Jensen. I live on Grace Lane. I'm a junior at Arlington High School, and I have been involved with the Pleasant Valley Rec Department since I was 7 years old. I played soccer and basketball, and as I've gotten older, I've now coached a team, and I've done my time, and it's really an amazing, amazing process to give back to people who are young. I started a children's petition because the petition to make Helen Aldrich Park better and get bathroom facilities was only open to people who were over 18. In fact, you'll even see my name signed on the petition and crossed out because I wanted to sign it so badly that I didn't realize there was an age requirement at first. So I really think that this town, it needs something to bring it together, and Helen Aldrich facilities that can be the project that inspires the community, the bringing togetherness for all ages, not just our rec department. And I really felt that this was such an important issue that I have a petition to give to you for this. Thank you so much for your time, and I really hope that you consider the influence of all the people who signed this sheet.
Hi, my name is Mia Newsome. Sorry.
Says your father from across the room.
My name is Mia Newsome. I live on David Drive, and I'm a 7th grader at LaGrange Middle School. And I signed the kids petition, and I encouraged all my friends to sign it too, because I believe it's important to update our facilities like Helen Aldridge Park and get bathroom facilities there so that we don't have to go to the bathroom in disgusting porta potties when summer camps open up there. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mia.
Just to let you know, the children have 45 signatures on their petition.
You can play next.
I'm Sophia Santiago, and I signed the petition because I think I played soccer since I was 5 or 4, and I think that there should be working bathrooms at all the parks, because when sunny days camp starts and soccer Saturdays start, the bathrooms start getting more yucky and disgusting, and I think we should have working bathrooms. Thank you.
Oh wait, this is a large child.
It is.
We're still letting the kids go.
I'm a big Southern kid. Good evening. My name is Ray Newsom. I live on David Drive. I've got a few comments I'd like to make. I have been a proud Pleasant Valley resident for 18 years now. I have coached in the PV soccer and basketball program for over 8 years now, and I've even helped out with Little League for a few seasons. I've been the PV basketball director for a few years until COVID-19 shut us down because the schools closed. I have 2 kids, one of which you just met, that have played PV rec soccer and basketball since they've been in kindergarten. Here's the problems that I see. I'm going to talk to you from a coach's point of view. PV lacks the updated recreational facilities and therefore the programs that all the other surrounding towns have, such as LaGrange, Beekman, Wappingers, East Fishkill, and the town of Poughkeepsie. We keep losing players and families to these towns because of their recreational facilities and programs. Every time we play teams from these other towns, I see quality PV kids that are playing on those teams because we cannot provide the facilities and programs that they seek. I had to send my daughter Mia, who you just met, to LaGrange to play girls soccer because we don't have the facilities and programs to support that. Now, LaGrange can attract people from all other towns because of the facilities they have there at Stringham Park. Some people aren't just sending their kids to play in these other towns' recreational programs. We know of people that have moved to other towns so that they can get the full benefit of being a resident of that town. That means, to this board, lost revenues to PV for property taxes, for sales taxes, and lost revenue for our PV businesses. We need PV. We need to invest in our recreational facilities and programs to attract more people that want to live in Pleasant Valley. We are at a disadvantage to all of those other towns with updated and new recreational facilities for attracting people here to live in PV. We need to update the rec facilities starting at Helen Aldridge, but continuing to the other facilities, Bauer Field, Katie Field, Field 2, and let's not forget the Riddle Park property for all 18 years that I've seen the sign there. We need permanent bathrooms, not porta potties, pavilions with outdoor kitchens to host community events, a multi-purpose building to host basketball. The same multi-purpose building can support other events for seniors and community members, more walking paths, tracks so people can get outside, and of course a wish list, a community lake with a beach or a swimming pool. PV has a good, solid recreation program, but we are all here today collectively because we want PV to have a great recreational program that we can be proud of that can attract new residents to PV. New and updated recreation facilities and programs help to build strong communities. We don't only want to be PV strong, we want to be PV proud. I would be remiss without thanking the two ladies behind me, Sandy Coe and Tracy Santiago, for all of their work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray.
Greg Straley, Pleasant Valley, New York. I foiled a special use permit. The hours are stated in there for Peckham. It's 7 to 3:30. Why are we still starting whenever we want? This needs to take place, and it needs to stop right now. And to mention to the town board why we're bashing people on social media, if the town would enforce the zoning, we wouldn't be telling everybody what's going on. You guys bring it upon yourself. And on the dust that's in those bags, if people want to come up and look at them, that's what we're breathing in constantly in Pleasant Valley. That dust that's in those bags, the dust that's in your house, it's coming from that quarry. It's stated all over any site that that stuff will travel miles away. And there's the dust to prove it. And another thing, the town needs to send letters to all state and local representatives to have Peckham clean the stream. The proof is up there. That stuff is in the stream. The pictures are on the backboard. You need to go back there, instead of sitting up there, go back and look at the pictures. They're not false. We didn't Photoshop them. They're from the stream. It needs to get taken care of. And we're tired of it. And we're tired of waking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. Blacktop plant fired up what time this morning? I heard the thing running at 6 o'clock. Bonded fires up at 4 o'clock. The lawyer's right here. And I'd like to ask the lawyer, I want the name of the agencies and the jurisdictions involved in Peckham that you're telling me that you have to go through because there's so many. The only agencies that's involved is right here in this town, and it starts with the town zoning. And right here's a special use permit from 1991 stating the hours of operation is 7 to 3:30 by Kaplicki, their lawyer. It's right here in it, black and white. 7 to 3:30 hours of operation. So why is Peckham get away with starting anytime they want and bonded? Bonded the renter there. Their hours should be 8 o'clock. It's an outside business. End of the story. 8 o'clock in the morning for bonded. They rent there. They're not the owners. And it needs to get taken care of. Thank you.
Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall Road. I want to thank Peckham for withdrawing their application. However, I don't believe that the application should have ever come before the board for a rezoning. There are planning board maps that have been filed with the Dutchess County Clerk's office that are stamped and signed by the planning board chairs that state no quarrying allowed on the 2 parcels that Peckham wants to rezone. This should be put to bed once and for all. It should not be resubmitted. The other thing that I want to talk about is I still don't have an answer from my letter dated December 9th from anyone on this board. Gary Beck is not taking care of residents' complaints and enforcing the town code, and no one on this board thinks he should. Why not? I see that you have on to advertise for a zoning administrator and a building inspector and whatnot, and I think he should be dismissed immediately. This is a gentleman that is not doing his job, and for whatever reason, the town board refuses to answer my letter. The third thing I'd like to talk about is building permit fees. They were passed without distributing them to anyone to see. They're outrageous. They are higher than any communities like City of Poughkeepsie, Town of Poughkeepsie, LaGrange, and I fear that people will build without a permit and take the fine because it's cheaper than paying the fees, and we will have a mess on our hands. The board should consider rolling back these fees. Thank you.
Hey, Paul. Brian Laffin, Grace Lane. You probably heard my name earlier. I'm the director of the Coach Laffin Skills and Drills basketball camp. I'm here as a resident, but I'm also here as a supporter of recreation. I am the superintendent of Parks and Recreation in the city of Poughkeepsie, and we have 18 parks in the city of Poughkeepsie, and all of them right now we're looking to make some massive improvements. So when I hear about improvement of amenities at Helen Aldridge, and I hear about and I listen to kids. I didn't write anything down here, so I'm going from the hip. But when I see young people up here asking for better facilities, that's the voices we need to listen to. So I'm here in support of Sandy Co. and all of our programs, and if there's anything that I can do in the future to assist and keep supporting, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Carol Roberts, North Avenue. I would just like to address the families that were here tonight to voice their support of the recreation system for Pleasant Valley. I think there's been a misunderstanding when it comes to the petition that went out. The petition is not against improving recreation facilities. We are all absolutely in support of that. The problem is questions were not answered by this board that really needed to be answered. That is what the referendum is about, to look at a total plan to see where we're going and how can we support this long term. That's it. We all, most of us have had kids. We've been through all the teams, different fields, different schools, different this, different. We know how difficult it is. We know bathrooms are essential. Just please, don't think that we are anti-recreation and anti-your kids. This was about the town board and getting questions answered. Secondly, when it comes to the new list of permit and inspection fees, I don't understand how that wasn't brought up at a town board meeting where the town residents could have a choice to make their voice heard. I have never seen anything as complicated and ludicrous and astronomical as what is listed for Pleasant Valley. Many of us do the work ourselves. We have the skills to do it. We can't afford to pay others. How in God's name can we pay the fees that are listed on there? Not only are there permitting fees, there's window fees, there's this, I mean, look at it. Please, everybody, if you have not seen it yet, read it. It is absolutely insane. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in the middle of building onto my house in a renovation. I'm supposed to renew my permit next month. What does that mean for me? There's not even permit renewals listed. Now the new building permits are good for 2 years. What does that mean? Can you renew it? What do you have to submit? That's not even listed. Are we grandfathered in because our permit was applied for 2 years ago? Do we have to pay these new fees? Nobody can do that on their own. Yeah, okay, maybe large contractors can afford to do that. They're going to jack on the prices to the construction fees. But like Carol said, everybody else is going to avoid building. They're going to avoid improving because you cannot afford it. And in a year or 2 years where COVID has impacted us so greatly, and this town was all about not raising taxes, although permit fees and everything else included with that may not actually be considered taxes, they are, in fact, taxes. Those fees are not meant to be a source of revenue for this town. They are meant to ensure that things are done correctly, and that is it.
Gary Beater, Saltpine Turnpike, Pleasant Valley. I had a lot to do with circulating that petition. And why? Because nobody talked about it. They voted on it before the meeting was open to the public, and it was passed at that time. Somebody said here, we have the money in a recreation fund. Guess what? I can't remember whether I was just a member or chairman of the planning board back in the 70s. I started that fund. That's why you have the money. It was not designed in the beginning to be spent in one park. It was designed to be spread around the town. Maybe it's not written, but I'm telling you from history what it was. I have no reason to lie. I would not have initiated that petition if we weren't treated so rudely by the town board at that meeting. There was none of the ones that I know of that circulated petitions were against the recreation. We were against the way it was not presented. We saw a good presentation tonight from the library. Told us what was going on. That's a presentation. You need to go 2 steps higher than that for recreation. And honestly, the park that should be targeted is the Retto Park. And why? Because that park is in the vision of the public. You develop that park, they see activity there, you develop more interest. That's how the petition got started. And if it wasn't for the, I guess, the town board's lack of consideration for the public, I wouldn't have done it. Thank you.
I'll make this quick. I'd like to thank the employees of the town hall. I think you all do a wonderful job. I think it's it's an ungrateful job, and all the employees that work here, I really think you do a wonderful job.
It's a thankless job.
Anyone else?
Hello, everyone. My name's Carl Sprower. I've been coaching in Pleasant Valley Rec for the last 16 years. I was president of Pleasant Valley Little League for 7. I can tell you this. This town, very difficult to deal with when it comes with the rec. The history, it's not good. I've fought in this town hall for our kids time and time again and failed. Very disappointed in what's going on right now for our kids. My kids aren't going to benefit from this. They're already too old. If this doesn't go forward, it'd be so disappointing. I tell people now, don't move to Pleasant Valley if you have a family. Why? We got nothing for you. Got nothing. Really? I can't invite my mom to my kid's ball game because on a 90-degree day, I got to have her go to a porta-john to go to the bathroom. Really? I go to other towns and they're nice. It's embarrassing having other communities come here and see what we ask them to go through. And meanwhile, we ask our own kids and families to do it on a regular basis for practices. So I beg of you, do it for the kids. That's the only thing that matters to me. Thank you. And thank the board that supports the rec. I really appreciate it, and these two ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Anyone else?
Kathy Kruger, 37 Wells Road, Pleasant Valley. Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Carol. They're probably going to say it much better than I will. The petition that we signed was not against the rec department or against park improvements. We are all very much supportive. Lived in here for 33 years in Pleasant Valley, raised 3 children. My grandchildren come here for Pleasant Valley Weekend and other programs that we have here. The problem that I have is that this town board has made several mistakes since your administration has begun, and are involved in several lawsuits, not to mention the tax mistake. Therefore, I felt it was extremely important that we have an acceptable proposal for Helen Aldrich. In this document that was handed out to us a week after you voted on it, absolutely showed there are no dollar amounts listed in here at all. Somebody mentioned, I can't remember if it was Greg Boldner, a cost of $350,000 for the bathrooms. I thank the children. I totally understand. The words we kept hearing tonight were facilities, parks, not just one bathroom. We need to be able to maintain all our parks in Pleasant Valley, all our facilities. There are things that have become dilapidated and we have not been able to take care of them. And in order to do that, we need that money. And I want to know right now, the fund that was created in 2004 via resolution number 49, 2004, called the Parks and Rec Fund. Do we indeed, at the time you presented this, a week after you had voted on it, and didn't obviously had much discussion between all of you, do we have the money in that fund? Do we have the proposed $350,000 that you said, not written, but said would cost for the bathrooms? And then what is the money that will be used to help maintain and to improve the other parks in our town? We have a building that is sitting down on 44 that has just been sitting there for years that we're not even doing anything with. My concern is the fiscal responsibility of this board for the town, for the future of the town. We've lived here 33 years. We're hoping for good things. And I just want our town board to be fiscally responsible. And the sad thing is when you're getting the petition signed and you're hearing the complaints and the concerns from residents and have a town board member tell you that it's illegal for you to be where you are and that you can't be here and that all your signatures are going to be invalid is unacceptable. And I'd like to know why I was told that. I still haven't received an answer.
Laura Straley, O'Halloran Circle. I just want to know if we leave all of these samples here, if you will send them out to get tested. You don't want to know what's in it?
I think she's asking if we'll pay to have them tested somewhere. Is that what you want, pay to test them?
If that will work too.
We have to get somebody to come and get the samples. I mean, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know where they came from.
Okay,
So
can you do that then? Can you get somebody to go and get their own samples and get it tested? I mean, why, we all want to know what's in the water.
No, I think, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
I
it's
think
okay.
that I've been exchanging emails with Bard College, as we mentioned. Thank you,
That-
Carol Roberts, for that information from Kingston. They're finishing up finals, so at the end of May, they were going to schedule a meeting with the board. And I'm trying to nail down a date. It's either end of May or beginning of June. I haven't reached out to anybody yet, but
Is that going to be air and water?
yeah.
Okay.
Both. So do you want to, my question is, do you want to wait for that, or do you want to, or should?
Again, we're getting into debates,
I'm sorry.
okay? Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Oh, I'm like, why are y'all staring at me?
Don't turn around too fast. Don't turn around too fast.
Hi, I'm Patty Carter, 1406 Route 44, and I'm here on behalf of the Rec Department also. And in the very beginning, I don't know who was speaking, I had heard about the social media comments, and I'm on that social media page. I refrain from making any negative comments by that page, but we do have healthy debates, and there's one lady here that I know very well that has had a healthy debate with many people. And I think it's important that these conversations are happening because I don't know who you are, mister, but you had mentioned that you opened that rec fund 40 years ago. And as I was listening to us argue over the bathroom facilities, I'm thinking to myself during that time, and I started asking people around town, you know, why haven't we gone forward, progressed forward as other towns have? So like other towns have put in a pool, other towns have, and I'll use Stringham Park and Freedom Park as examples. And I say to myself, why haven't we progressed forward? And many people from the town have said that they've tried to put in a town pool at Bower Park. And it got voted down after one person dissented on Ravine Road. That was 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the town water and the town septic was brought to issue. That's 40 years ago. So when we sit here and debate about a bathroom, that has not been taking place at any of the parks is very embarrassing, and I know other people have used that, but I look at that 21 years ago, talking about Red Elk Park, and you are mentioning Red Elk Park, and you're saying, let's bring that to the table. We did. The town voted it down. So when we sit here and we talk about what's good for the town, the kids are what's good for the town. I let those 4 kids go before me because they're the ones that are here, and no kids are going to come back to this town if we don't start providing for them. So as we're drying up our taxpayers' funds, and everybody's arguing over our taxpayers, where are our funds going to? It's the new families that are coming into our town. And to just ask for sanitation after this pandemic is absolutely insane to think about, that we're arguing about putting in one bathroom with flushable toilets and plumbing so that we're not in a cooped up porta potty. And I would like to just add, West Road, my kids were on the rec, Pleasant Valley Rec, and I know your frustrations, Tracy, because, you know, there's any given weekend, there could be 200 families down there, and we're asking them to share 2 porta potties. And I think that's absolutely insane not to be able to have a park and not use a school, a public school. Thank you. I didn't know that was thing. So thank you. Thank you for your time. And again, I appreciate each one of you for your service. Oh, my pen. Take my pen. I didn't know that.
Anyone else?
Okay.
Don't turn around. At least you didn't creep up on me like Mrs. Carter.
Mrs. Carter can creep up on me anytime she wants. Hi, I'm Tracy Santiago. I live at 166 Davis Road in Salt Point. I have spoke previously about the park at Helen Aldrich and taking advantage of using some of our peripheral community and bringing attention to it. I participated in a petition of support, and it did nothing but ask for support in specific reference to this project that was unanimously approved and funded. It was in 6 days. Imagine what I could do with 45 days. So my point is, it was never supposed to be an us versus them. But it kind of feels like an us versus them when people are constantly engaging in social media and people are pounding the pavement and knocking on doors. There were so many people that didn't even know this was going on. And I think that that's not a transparency issue. I think it's the way that local government is handled is not accessible to the average person, and constantly, on a consistent basis. The voice of our community is sounded by the people who are able to consistently be here and represent themselves face to face. And that is changing. Like Amy said, the bear is awoken. We're here. We're not going anywhere. I even met with community members that signed the original petition that thought that they were signing it in support of the Helen Aldrich. They were led to believe that it was a Go Helen Aldrich project, which is strange because it ceased it in its tracks. I've been talking about this for 6 days. I'm exhausted. There's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said tonight by some of the coaches, volunteers, parents, and other community members. So I implore you guys to stick with your gut. I voted for you guys to run on a platform for recreation, to make this town better for our families. And I expect nothing less. Nothing less. Thank you.
Hi, Debbie Langenau, 52 Davis Road, Soulport, New York. I noticed that we're having note passing to the board, and it's gotten as far as to you. I'm wondering if that can be shared. If somebody's got something to say, I don't think it should be done in a note.
Our park was given to the town by the developer in lieu of rec fee. I really don't know what that means, but.
They didn't have to pay a
They
rent.
didn't have to pay the rent fee, they gave us the land instead.
Gave us the land instead of paying the fee.
Oh, well, you could come up again.
No, you can't. No.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Thank you. So, thank you. I wanted to first say to Mary Beth and the town clerk's office, I've gotten kicked off the Pleasant Valley website, so I'm no longer have access to social media and can no longer put my positive comments on there to you guys. So I came here tonight to do it in person, to thank you for all your hard work, thank you for your professionalism, and, you know, you do get kicked around quite a bit, and it really is disheartening to see how much. It hurts me, hurts my heart to think that our community is like this. So, I also am here to support the Pleasant Valley Rec program. My kids went through the program, kindergarten through 12th grade. My grandchildren are now in the program. And the way that I got around the porta potty situation is I bought a porta potty and put it in the back of my car. And up until last year, that porta potty's been in the back of my car, or whatever car I was driving. And that's how we took care of the bathroom situation for five kids and then 5 grandchildren. So, you know, I mean, so I think that speaks to a lot, that we do need the bathroom and we do need to point it at least one specific location, and it does make sense to put it at the place where camp is going to be. And the camp is really serving a need, especially now that it can be open longer hours, before and after school care. So it would be, I think, very, very helpful to go in that direction. And, you know, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I gave a lot of thought to that, and I think that there's some political piece that's in there with some negotiations on that. I also want to say, just it's blown me away to see the outstanding volunteers that we have from everything that's done, that's volunteer, just outstanding. And my time is up. Also, I just want to say, if this does have to go to vote, it costs us $20,000. If we have to go back to a vote, it costs us $20,000, and I have great concern on that money being spent. So I guess I don't get to talk about Peckham or Gary Beck, but that's okay.
Anyone else?
Jump on the bandwagon. Whoa. I need some glue. It's falling apart.
You good? We're good? Cool. Hi, my name's Corey Greenspan. I live on Lakeshore Drive. I think I am a pretty underrepresentative person here. I am 26. I don't see too many people my age here. I grew up here. I live here now, not by my own doing because of COVID, you know, jobs and stuff. And right now I am coaching with the Pleasant Valley Rec Soccer program. I would like to say that it is very difficult growing up here playing, using Bauer, using West, going to the bathroom. We used to use the woods because the porta potties are gross. And there's 12 people at halftime that have to go to the bathroom because you're running around for 45 minutes. The facilities, they need upgrades. There are nothing for me, my age group, and my friends to really do here. We don't have the facilities or the programs for that. We go to Unionville. We go to Timor. Timor's great. We go to town of Poughkeepsie. Greenville's fine. There's just, if I was to move back in this area, I would not move to Pleasant Valley. It's just the way it is. There's nothing, for me personally, reason for me to move back here. I would pick a different town, just being frank with you. That's really all I have to say. We desperately need rec facilities. I work in collegiate rec. I know what brings people to the town and the programs that work. We don't have them. We need them. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Yes, Frank.
Hi, Joy Dyson, 167 Gretna Road. I just might kick myself with this, but since I did help with the library and I'm still helping, I actually would volunteer helping with some sort of rec development if the board would consider putting together a committee and having people get together and maybe even make regular reports to board meetings, so then town people can be updated and keep this momentum going, because everybody can come up here, talk, and say what they want to say, but you really need a backdoor committee, really dig in, do the hardcore work, and then come and report what has been done, what has been looked into. So there's some transparency as well as some consistency. So even if these seats have changed in the fall, the momentum can continue, and it just doesn't stop. Okay, thanks.
Can I accept that as your, we have a rec committee, and we had our second meeting.
I know. Can you give me like 2 more months? Just 2 months.
And we do have a vacant seat on that rec committee.
Yeah, I'm going. Jeff Cady, 1005 Netherwood Road. I've sat here and listened to everybody about this wreck. And I don't want to tell you how old I am, but 44 years ago, my dad and Mr. Veter coached minor league and little league here in Pleasant Valley. And at the old Helen Aldrich Park, if you had to go, you went in the hayfield and hoped the grass was high enough. And that's the God's honest truth. Before it ticks. We used to work on the fields at West Road School. They provided us with sand. We had to bring our own shovels and rakes. If it rained, we hoped we played. God hoped we played. Because that's all you looked forward to at school was going to play ball. I heard some people talk about, well, it's just this park and it needs to be spread around. But you got to start somewhere. And if the camps are going to be at Helen Aldrich, that's the place to start. You have to start someplace. Just to give you a little bit of background, 24 years ago was the Salt Point Fire Company's 50th anniversary. We had a parade in our hometown. We wanted to use Helen Aldrich. And I'm not sure, Frank, was it Helen Aldrich then or was it just Bill Baker Field?
I think it was Helen Aldrich.
Was it Helen Aldrich? It was close.
I don't know when Bill Baker Field was dedicated.
I can't remember either. But anyway, so we had no facilities whatsoever. There wasn't even electric up there past the schoolhouse. So the fire company got together. We called in a bunch of favors. We worked with the town highway department. We had a backhoe. We had some friends at Central Hudson. We got wire. We ran a 200 amp panel. That's how the electric started at Helen Aldrich Park, was by the fire company, because we were doing our 50th anniversary. I don't know how many people know that, but that's God's honest truth. My brother and I, we had people from Central Hudson, the highway department, Steve Albrecht Jr. ran the backhoe. Butch Gardner was there making sure everything went right. So it's all town organized. It's all togetherness, and that's how we get things done in this town. And to start someplace, we got to start someplace.
And I signed that petition, and I support the petition, and I support rec. I don't have a dog in the fight. My wife and I didn't have any kids. But you saw the kids here tonight, and the kids that were out front with their signs on the sidewalk. That's what it's all about, because we want to keep them here. I've been 56 years born and bred in this town, and I'm proud to call Pleasant Valley my hometown. Thank you.
Anyone
I'm
else?
so old, I forgot.
Anyone else going twice? No, well.
Going once, going
once,
twice.
going twice. All right, I make a motion that we close, hearing none, I make a motion that we close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And Mr. Supervisor, since we're going on 2 hours and we haven't even started new business yet, before we get to new business, I'd like to request a 5-minute recess.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
Hey, Pleasant Valley Pride, right? Be proud of it.
Okay, we're back in session. Okay. Everybody ready? New business would be update on the Hometown Hero banners.
Jeff, in thinking that no one else was speaking, just press the button on that microphone and turn it back on.
Hey, look at that. I figured it out. That's amazing. You be quiet. Okay. Jeff Cady, 1005 Netherwood Road. I am chairperson. I'm going to take this off. I am chairperson of the Hometown Heroes Banner Committee. At this time, I'd like to thank the town board for allowing us to get this committee started. We've had a meeting. We have a great committee, a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm really, really happy. We're working with Military Tribute Banners. It's a company from Florida. They provide us everything. Once we sign the paperwork with them, they provide us with everything. The palm cards to go to the businesses, applications for the actual banner, the whole 9 yards. Once we get into this, we get going down the road, we can also possibly make this as a fundraiser where we might be able to turn some money over for brackets and things, you know, brackets that get damaged or whatever. We've picked a banner. Mary Beth is going to hand out the banner, a copy of the banner to the town board. This is our proof. They are extremely busy, of course, because it's before Memorial Day. We will get a proof banner, actual size 18 by 36. And the lettering, as you can see, I'm sorry we don't have enough for the general public, but this is like I said, this is our. Do we have a couple? We can. I have a few. If anybody would like to see them. Not yet. Not yet. Yep. So we've got some really good news out of our first meeting. Like I said, we have a great committee. Central Hudson has told us that everything looks great. They have dealt with other towns doing this. A lot of the other towns are using the same company, so the brackets have already been approved by Central Hudson, so we're hoping we've got a foot in the door with that. We've asked for 185 poles in all three hamlets, Pleasant Valley, Washington Hollow, and Saw Point. Central Hudson right now is working on their field review. They have to go out and they have to look at the poles, make sure there's not too much stuff already on the poles, make sure it's feasible, put them on, that type of thing. I've talked to the fire district. I've talked to the chairman of the board, and I've talked to the fire chief. To save money, they will allow the use of the ladder truck to install the brackets. Otherwise, we would have to go out and pay somebody with a bucket truck or beg and plead and give them brownies and cookies to donate their bucket truck. This day and age, really, that doesn't happen. The nice thing about with the ladder truck is the guys and gals who are bucket certified need time in the bucket as training, so that will go towards their training. The driver's the same thing with placement of the ladder, placement of the actual apparatus, and where they can reach. That's also part of training. Fire police are going to be involved with the fire police vehicles with traffic and all that kind of stuff. We hope to get started very, very soon. We're like, I'd hate to say we're 99%, but maybe 90. Once Central Hudson does their field review, like I said, we've got the banner coming. We're going to figure out applications, make sure the application that is coming from the Military Tribute Banners people is going to work for us. Other towns have really started to come on board on this. Pine Plains has done it. Mena is putting up new banners as we speak. So it's really picking up speed. And I cannot wait for us to hang the first banner in Pleasant Valley. Because when we do it, it's going to be done right, and it's going to be a ceremony. Because I want it done right. I want the town board there. I want, I want a ceremony. You know, we're going to invite the public, the families. You know, we'll have different families there with different banners. We'll put one up. I don't know, we do a lottery system, and say we get 30 first off. You put all 30 names in the basket, you pick one, and that's where the ceremony takes place. Because we're also trying to see, and I'm going to use them for an example, my dad. I think he would want his banner in front of the feed store. So we're going to try and accommodate people. If their place was Dunkin' Donuts, and we can put one in front of Dunkin' Donuts on a pole, you know, if that's where they want it, that's what we're going to try. Well, we have 185 poles that we got off of Central Hudson's maps. That's the ones that we applied for. Not going to say we're going to get all 185 poles depending on what's on them. But what other towns have done is they go up, it's an application process, and they take a certain number of applications a year. They get the banners up before Memorial Day, and then the banners come down after Veterans Day.
And then go back to the family.
And then go back to the families. The banners, they're well-made, but they say 2 years, they're going to start to really get dilapidated. For a second year, they probably want to go up. Now, that's not saying that if we have an open poll and we have an open application, if the Albrecht family wants to put a second one up of the same person and we have polls available, I don't see a problem with that. All right? But
Represent different hamlets.
right. The cost is not, I have looked at that a little bit. The cost is not that bad. The brackets are almost as much as the banners, believe it or not. But we're moving forward. Like I said, we've got a great committee with a lot of enthusiasm. And like I said, I can't wait to have this first banner go up. So, I appreciate the board going out and approving this committee because it's important. My little bit of background, my dad was in Korea. He got to go on honor flight. I went with him. I put together a trip to the Wall That Heals in Newburgh 4 years ago. I can't believe it's been 4 years. I think it was, no, maybe 3 years. 3 years. You know, we do the Trees for Troops through Salt Point Fire Company and with the fire district. So this is really important to me. We get it done. Mary Beth is doing a little bit of work. She helps me out with the emails because I'm really not good. We get stuff from one device to the other. It's not good, not good at all. Like I said, if anybody else wants to see a copy of this, Mary Beth has a few more, and just look for us.
Right. We chose this banner as a committee. If you look at the bottom,
Yeah.
it represents each branch. On the backside.
Doesn't get dirty.
Yep.
And we chose this particular style because, of course, there's going to be mud, weather, and it's going to get dirty. It's going to get very, very dirty.
That's why we're going to go with white.
Yeah.
So-
And again, the reason why this has taken so long is because we did not have our own poles like other towns, like the town of LaGrange has very beautiful lamp posts, very simple to hang. We have to go through the stages of permission. And the town's insurance was submitted to Central Hudson, and they had no problem. Everything was very good, and I've worked with the town's insurance company, no problem. So we're covering all bases, making sure we're doing this right.
Yep.
And that the application will be rejected, and then we have to submit it again.
So you guys got any questions for us?
No, I mean, it sounds great.
Keep it up, keep going.
No, but who's the young lady to your right?
This is Lisa.
Would you want
This is
My name is Lisa Pfister. I'm a local resident here. I live off of West Road. I've lived in Pleasant Valley for 12 years. I'm very happy here. I love the community. I'll pitch in where I can and do what I can. My daughter is a 5-year corporal in the Marines. She just re-enlisted. And she's very happy and she kicks ass. So, like her mother, she learned from the best,
And
so.
Lisa is a great addition to our team, as is Christy, who she could not be here tonight, and Anthony Luciano, who also could not be here tonight. We really do, like Jeff said, we're very blessed. We have a great
Yes.
team, we work well together, and a lot of good brainstorming ideas, and we're coming along very well. Okay?
All right.
I have a quick question for Lisa, because I believe that her daughter Sophia was a Pleasant Valley resident when she enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Yes, sir.
Her picture needs to be on the wall out
Yeah,
there.
she's going to get me one.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we talked about that, yeah.
Thank you, Keith. I will take
Yep.
care of that and drop it right off tomorrow morning with a lot of pride. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, number 2, accept the minutes from February, March, April, and for the regular workshop and special town board meetings.
So moved. For approval, that is, I should say.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 3 is proclamation of Municipal Clerks Week, May 2nd through May 8th. I'll just read it. Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board Proclamation, 52nd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 2nd through May 8th, 2021. Whereas the office of Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between citizens and local governing bodies and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas the Professional Municipal Clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the Professional Municipal Clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas Professional Municipal Clerks continually strive to improve the administration of affairs of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore, I, Frank Szynski, Supervisor of the Town of Pleasant Valley, do hereby recognize the week of May 2nd through May 8th, 2021 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend the appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Mary Beth Muir, and to all professional municipal clerks for their vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
We don't vote on that, right?
We don't have to vote on it, no.
No, okay.
Number 4, hire part-time temporary help at the transfer station. What's that?
Mine got all turned around.
Okay.
I know, Frank, you and I just recently spoke about this, and there's a piece to this that we have to talk about in executive session, but I think we should just, what we can talk about, have 5 quick seconds. For those of you who don't know, Bill Brink is hospitalized, so he cannot work at the transfer station, so we're trying to figure out a fill-in for him currently, as well as, and this is something I spoke to you about, and hopefully we'll have resolutions for it next week, John, is actually adding another highway employee, because I know that they're understaffed. So with the thought in mind that we will end up hauling our own garbage, you know. We spoke about that this morning, so, but yeah, I think the back piece of this is we gotta talk about in executive session.
Okay. All right.
So to answer your question, John, just so you know, next week. You're welcome.
The Pleasant Valley Bicentennial update.
So we had our first meeting, and I thought it was quite successful. We had approximately 12 people show up to be on the committee, and there were about 4 who could not make the meeting. So we have approximately 16 people on the committee to start our bicentennial. All with the understanding that we're going to do this work, and at any time there could be the rug pulled out from underneath us and just not be able to do it due to COVID. So we're willing to put the work in, we're willing to put the effort in, but the good news is we have found out that just recently that Syracuse is going to be having the state fair, and Dutchess County will be having the fair. So it looks and appears that outside events will be okay. So by the time we get to September, by doing all this work now, we will be able to celebrate our bicentennial. The committee has broken off into subcommittees already and have started their work. And I believe anyone who wants to help, our meetings are going to be the first Monday of every month. As to where they're being held, that could float. We had our first meeting at Madison's Pizzeria in their back room. So places are allowing us to use some of their back rooms for meetings like this, which is great. So that'll be announced. But first Monday of each month, if you want to join us, by all means. So.
Okay, thank you, John. Number 6 would be permissive referendum update, Helen Lodge Park improvements. That's pretty much been discussed.
So,
Before we start, I handed out an email to the board. On this email was a woman, a resident, who signed the petition and would like to pull her signature. She wants to support her.
Well, this is Kathy.
She just wanted it noted.
yeah, Wolfhanger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here.
He's going. He's going. So the petitions were handed in March 19th. After looking over them for a laundry list of reasons, I objected to them in Dutchess County Supreme Court. I mean, one of them most notably is that we had daughters of board members who signed multiple times. There was no year on pages 1, 2, and 13. On sheet 13, they actually started collecting signatures 5 days before we voted. So, but because I didn't get the form notarized, the judge threw it out. So here we are.
So what was the outcome?
The outcome was that she threw away my objections. So in calling the
So
board...
that means the permissive referendum was passed, correct?
No, that means we have to go to public vote.
You have to go to public, right. But
So in calling the Board of Elections, the Board of Elections told us they won't touch this because it's right in time with all their school board votes, as well as 3 weeks later is a primary. So they're sopped up and busy. I called Rhinebeck, the village clerk there, because she most recently, I don't know if you follow their politics, but they tried to merge their village and town courts, and that didn't work so well for them either. So they were gonna have to go to public vote. They avoided it, but she estimated per resident about $2 per resident that they have to, on average, because they have to mail things to them. I mean, we're behind the 8 ball as it is. She says it takes about 30 to 40 days to plan. We have 20-something days left, so if...
When was the decision made?
What, for Dutchess County Supreme
Well,
Court?
yeah, it was on, I believe it was stamped in on April 16th, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
So why did we notify everybody at that point? I know I wasn't. I know I was not notified when it happened.
I
Okay.
was told by Supervisor Szynski that everyone knew.
Nope, not on the 16th. There was no email to the effect. There was no official announcement whatsoever. Regardless, it doesn't matter because it's a new point because we have to hurry up and have to pick a date, do we not?
No, in talking to Paul, I mean, we have options. So we could rescind the resolution, in effect pulling it. We could rescind and reapply in the sense, or repass it in the sense of pulling it back and using funds that are not, we could pass it again, we could use, but you do a better job of explaining. Paul, sorry. Just make sure it's on.
So the answer is that there is a valid petition now for a permissive referendum. The board will have to act rather quickly in setting that up. There is going to be some logistical issues with establishing a vote in a short period of time, especially without the assistance of the Dutchess County Board of Elections, but that would have to be done at a cost to the town. The town board could rescind that resolution. They're effectively making it moot and making a vote moot. That leaves the resolution void and no authorization to pay for it, at least from that fund. If the board wished to provide for the improvements from a different fund, it could do so. And certain funds, depending on where it would be coming from, may not be subject to permissive referendum. So the board has a couple of options, but if it continues to wish to expend the money from the park reservation fund, then it needs to act quickly in order to set up that permissive referendum and that vote in order to proceed.
How much was in that fund?
There's two, so which one?
How much was the one we decided to use?
If you give me 1 second, I can
Sure.
actually give you an exact answer on it, I think.
I'm under the impression that the account that we were told to use actually doesn't even require a permissive referendum.
So the town has essentially two recreation funds. One was referenced tonight, which is the Parkland in lieu of reservation fund. That allows, it's typically set up where a developer cannot locate recreation funds on its own property. They can pay a fee in lieu of recreation funds. It's either for the expansion of recreation opportunities in the town or for capital improvements to existing facilities. That fund is available. The fund that the park improvements for the park were to be paid from is a park reservation fund, and that has a permissive referendum requirement.
And how much was in that fund?
So if you give me...
For rough numbers from memory, one has 300 and...
Yeah, this is from the bookkeeper this morning. The Park and Recreation Reserve Fund has $282,390, and the Recreation Trust Fund has $356,658.
And just to be...
So the fund we originally went from did not even have the $350,000 in it, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
But the trust fund does not need...
The trust fund is not subject to permissive referendum but it's limited to what can be done, capital improvements. Not replacement in kind. It has to be a true capital improvement. And I would say that the installation of bathrooms would be a capital improvement, that would be permissible to be paid from that trust fund.
Mary Beth, do you have those copies that you made of this?
So if I may, real quickly. So tonight we had a wonderful showing, and I applaud everybody in their efforts, everyone. And I want to make it clear, very clear to you folks, that nobody on this board is against rec, okay? That the people that went around with a permissive referendum to be signed, a petition, all right, was to protect your rights so that you have a voice in what is being said here. It was not given to you at first. So initially, if this thing was handled correctly, we would not even have had a petition. We would have never had this argument. Everybody who showed up here tonight would not have had to do it. You're all living proof that this did not happen the correct way. And allow me, if I can. At no time was myself or Mr. O'Hanlon, Councilman O'Hanlon, brought into the idea of a Phase 2 or anything else that went along with the park.
You were.
No.
Check the meeting minutes from November and October, John.
I have, November and
Watch
October.
the videos.
The November, October, I was in the hospital, if you remember correctly.
In
And
December.
I went back and I looked, hold on, I gave your hundreds of people a chance to talk.
My hundreds of people.
I know,
listen to
hold on,
yourself.
hold on.
2011, we
Hold
spent
on.
tens of thousands of dollars on a
I
rec
get it.
master plan, John.
I get it. We had all the
bathroom
theater
we're
tonight.
planning is 50 feet from where
We
it is in
had
the
all
master
the
plan.
theater tonight, and I understand, okay? And again, I am not against rec, neither is Councilman O'Hanlon. What I'm against is how it's done, what I'm against is how it was handled.
Yeah, but John, you voted for it.
You
I know I
voted for it. You didn't even question
Because,
it.
hold on, let me explain. I did vote for it because I am for rec, and I want the children to have. But at the same time, there is other people in this town who I represent as well, and I have to be fiscally responsible for. And when I found out that we did not have the funds, number one.
We do.
And no, we don't.
We do. We have just shy of $700,000 if you could do simple math.
That's
Okay?
simple math.
Number two,
That's not the fund that we're taking it
the
from. number one.
bathroom that we are proposing is 50
Once
feet from
again,
the plan
I can
that
get
we
louder than you.
approved in
Don't worry about it.
2011.
Once again,
Let's calm down, boys.
once again, that was not the fund that we voted on. The fund that we voted on I was told,
So was I.
300 and X amount of dollars.
We were all told
And
the
it
same
was
thing.
incorrect.
Right, we were all told the
So-
same thing. Not the first time we were given incorrect information.
At the
John.
same time, we then moved to Phase 2, which could be anything. There is absolutely no plan whatsoever
It's in this book.
and it's for whoever sits on this board in the future to do, because we don't have those funds
Yeah,
for
but
it.
John-
We don't have that.
John, you got to start somewhere.
I get that, and I appreciate it. And wait a minute, hold on. And at that point in time, see, I'm going to explain something. If this was done correctly, let me explain how it should have been done. The first thing that should have been done was the person who had the idea to bring it up should have shared all the idea, the entire idea, to the entire board. That did not happen. That did not happen. Second, you then go and do a study as to which park it might be the best one to go to. Which would be the best one? Okay, that's
in
fine.
this book.
But those things could change, and they have, all right? You can hold that book up all you want, but that never happened for this board, all right? No discussion whatsoever. Then, somewhere along the line, somebody came up with a great idea to put Phase 2 into place, or put forth. No, hold on. And at that point in time, that's when I decided, wait a minute, we have to put the brakes on. Let's get a handle on this. Not that we're against rec, it's that we want to make sure that fiscally we're sound and fiscally we can do it. Now, obviously, we don't even know what fund we're taking out of.
We don't know what fund
No, we
we
don't.
out of, because once again, we were told by our bookkeeper the wrong information. Okay? So let's get down to the brass tacks here. First of all, we can save a whole lot of money up there. There are a lot of people willing to help out, to do whatever they can to keep the cost of this project way below what we were told that night.
Now,
Oh, okay.
that's not what we were
That's
saying
enough.
back then. That's not when you create a situation where somebody has to come out and make a decision and vote, obviously, other than the way they voted, because that wasn't put forth at that point in time. It had nothing there.
You know something?
Hold on, excuse me, this is our time. I'm sorry, ma'am, this is our time. This is our time to discuss this. Ma'am, this is our time to discuss this. You have your time, this is our time to have our argument. No, my 3 minutes is not up, ma'am.
Well, I think you're rude.
I'm rude?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Well, here's the thing.
All right, let's reel this back in. Let's talk.
Bottom
about
line is, the people have spoken on a permissive referendum. Are we going to take this to a vote, yes or no?
Your people.
Not mine.
Here's what I'm going to say. Here, John, the families of, the families that were here earlier that spoke in regards to Pleasant Valley Recreation, they had 6 days and they handed in 315 signatures, which trumps your, and I'll be
Not mine,
using that
not
word.
mine.
Oh,
People's.
no.
The people's.
You signed, the petition, so did Keith. Your daughter signed 3 times
My
each.
daughter did not sign 3 times.
Look at the petitions, John.
My daughter did not sign 3 times.
Now we know. So,
Bottom line.
No.
I moved to pick a date.
No, listen, the
This
bottom line, the bottom.
I'll second that move.
We got a second.
Wait, let's procedure, let's vote on it.
I've made a motion and there's a second on the floor. Do you
Let's
wanna take a
vote on it.
this?
Let's vote on it.
Let's vote on it.
Let's vote on it. Roll call. We're roll call voting to set a date for the vote.
Councilwoman Alver. Nay. Councilman Del Vecchio.
Yay.
I'm sorry?
Yay.
Councilman Mazzella.
Nay.
Councilman O'Hanlon.
Aye.
Supervisor Szynski.
Nay. Now, let's get this thing done, okay? We're sure everybody here tonight wants recreation, right?
Absolutely.
So I say, no date, let's rescind that resolution and go on with the program. Out of the fund, we don't need a permissive referendum.
But you take away the people's choice of that. We still don't have an actual plan.
John, I'll make copies of this for you. I'll make copies of this for you.
We're the voice here.
I get that, Frank.
We make the decisions.
But you now just sidestepped a whole bunch of people who signed a petition.
And the petitions were invalid.
They should have been
It was
invalidated.
Hold on. It was passed by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Supreme Court. Who's over the Supreme Court here? Nobody.
Well, we could take it to the higher court, but, no.
Why would
it
you
was-
want to spend this kind of money on this?
This is foolish, John. This bathroom really costs taxpayers nothing. The money's been in the bank since the 70s, according to Gary Veeder. It costs us nothing. It'll cost us $20,000 to have a vote after you didn't want to spend $2,000 to send residents a letter explaining the tax situation. So your fiscal responsibility to me, John, is about this big. So
So if you would like to rescind the vote, then rescind the vote.
I let you talk for long enough. This rec plan that was approved in 2000.
You let him talk for long enough? I didn't know you were king.
Wait a minute.
Keith,
you know what? You guys are out of control.
You guys should be ashamed of yourself.
No,
Yes, you are.
we were standing up for the people we represent who are fiscally sound people, and it was not fiscally brought to this thing. I'm sorry, folks, this is not an open forum at this point. I'm sorry, you had the opportunity to talk. The people have spoken on a petition,
John,
and I think we should let them
John, we're
vote.
getting out of hand here.
John.
Let's calm down, okay?
I'm calm.
The bottom line is, we want
I
this to
think
go
we said
forward.
that pretty calmly.
No, we want this to go forward. It's a good project. Like Katie said, you gotta start somewhere,
I agree.
you know? And this is the.
But let's do it right.
So let's,
Wait. Let's rescind the resolution, and appropriate the money out of the fund. We don't have to go to permissive referendum. That's what I.
I move that we rescind the resolution I gotta look up the resolution number now. Hold on, I got it here. It was Exhibit B. I move that we rescind Resolution 2116 of 2021 for the purpose of not wasting $20,000 of taxpayer money. I need a second.
Second.
I'm assuming we're going to have to, roll call vote, I'm going to guess.
Yes, and there's no more discussion. We've discussed it enough. Let's do a roll call.
Councilwoman Alver.
Aye.
Councilman Del Vecchio.
I believe people should speak. Nay.
Excuse me. Councilman Mazzella.
Aye.
Councilman O'Hanlon.
Nay, because this should go to the people.
Supervisor Szynski.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I make another motion from the floor that we expend the money laid out for this plan out of the Recreation Trust Fund.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
My only recommendation is it possible that we can hold off on the expending of the money to the next board resolution, just so that we can have the proper GL codes for the fund?
Oh, sure.
So the resolution, the previous resolution was rescinded, so that resets the clock. That will not be expended from that fund. The board does not have to move forward with referendum. But before we expend the money, let's just make sure that we have a written resolution for the expenditure of money, proper account, proper dollar amount. So that would be my own recommendation.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We have a meeting next week, so we'll
We'll have it prepared for your next meeting.
Thank you, Paul. Moving on.
I just want to say this, that when I was the one with Sandy Coe that came up with this plan, I never thought that it would come to this level. Never. Only in Pleasant Valley can something like this happen. And I'm ashamed to say that it did happen. So for you people up in Recreation, we're going to get it done.
Thank you.
We got to build it first.
I wouldn't get rid of it any too soon. Just in case.
All right. Number 7, I think that's where we are, right?
Yep.
Okay, authorize the town clerk to advertise for a part-time account clerk, a building inspector, fire inspector, and zoning administrator.
Again, Frank, in talking to you earlier, I think the last 3 positions we have to talk about in executive session first, but I do think that, I mean, we know Tony's leaving. I do think that we at least, we have to do that one. We have to advertise for
So
Tony.
let's give her,
Yeah, so I make a motion that we give Mary Beth permission to advertise for a part-time account clerk. Do you need blank of time? You just need to.
No.
That's fine, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 8 is creation of a workplace violence committee. I think it's sorely needed.
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, I have received a copy of the town's workplace violence policy and procedure. It looks fine. It looks like that there's a policy and procedure in place. It looks like it was adopted correctly, for what I can tell from the enabling legislation. However, part of the obligation under that rules and regulations is that there is a safety committee that is established by the town that includes employees and members of any bargaining unit, and I know you have at least one bargaining unit in the town, and they are to inspect town facilities and make sure that they are safe. They are to make recommendations to the town board about safety upgrades that they feel may be necessary, and to work through, workplace violence complaints and whatnot. I don't believe that the town has that set up. It's required by the labor law, and it would be my recommendation that the town board establish a safety committee within town hall for the town employees.
I'm assuming you can have a resolution to effectuate that next meeting?
I will have a resolution. The only input I need from town board is number of people. Like I said before, it should include representatives of the bargaining units and employees from all facilities. So if you have a separate facility for highway, they should have some representation there. So
I got you. Okay. I think how many people do we want on the committee? I mean, this is really up to us.
Paul, what's the normal?
How many employees in the workforce?
About 40 something.
And about how many? 2 sites? Just 2 sites?
3 technically.
Yeah, 3 sites.
The rec offices and so on.
So you're probably looking anywhere between 5 and 10 employees. With 40 employees, you're probably looking more than 5 range, 5 to 6. But you want one person from each facility. You want at least one representative of the union, and, maybe a couple from the town hall. And you don't have to tell me today, you can email me the names, I'll pop them in, and then it'll be in the resolution for the town board to consider at their next meeting.
All right. I think what we should do is maybe talk further about the employees we want to choose due to whatever in executive session.
Okay. Okay, number 9, resolution to reappoint, resolution number 4104 of 2021, reappointment to the Board of Assessment Review. Whereas Anthony Kavoris has expressed an interest in being reappointed as a full member of the Board of Assessment Review, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and reappoint Anthony Kavoris to the to Pleasant Valley Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term ending in April 26, 2025, effective immediately as follows.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 10 is resolution number 4105, 2021, amending the general fund budget, transfer of funds. Whereas the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley has an expenditure for the 2021 adopted budget line items that will exceed the amount available in each such budget line, and whereas the bookkeeper finds it necessary to amend the 2021 adopted budget to meet these expenditures, whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley has funds available in other lines and needs to transfer such funds to provide for expenditures, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley hereby authorizes, empowers, and directs the town supervisor to amend the 2021 adopted budget as follows. I'm not going to read the accounts. I'll just say increase records management supplies, $200. Increase programs for aging dial-a-ride, $2,000. Increase MS4 personal services, $1,500. Increase zoning miscellaneous, $600. Increase police and personal services, $10,000. Decrease supervisor mileage, $200. Decrease the contingent, $4,100. Decrease law enforcement sheriff's night, 5 nights, $10,000.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Resolution number 4106, 2021, authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with New York Communications Company for the Highway Department radio equipment. Do you want me to read all this?
I'll read it. I'll read it, yeah. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Highway Department requires radio equipment to facilitate efficient communication between Highway Department employees as well as various town administration agencies to promptly address issues relating to maintenance and safety of town roadways and local agencies as they arise, or emergencies as they arise. And whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Highway Superintendent John Baxter has received a proposal from New York Comco to lease the needed radio equipment, including service of said equipment, at a lease rate of $943 per month for a 72-month lease in accordance with the lease proposal prepared for the Town of Pleasant Valley Highway Department by letter proposal dated March 12, 2021 from New York Comco, and recommends entering into a lease agreement. And whereas this proposal complies with the town's procurement policy, now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby determines that the need for the lease equipment of the wireless communication system as set forth in the aforementioned proposal at the lease rate of $943 per month for a 72-month lease, and be it further resolved that the town board further determines that the lease terms and conditions set forth in the lease are acceptable and consistent with the needs of the Town of Pleasant Valley Highway Department and otherwise complies with the procurement policy of the Town of Pleasant Valley. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby accepts the terms set forth in the lease agreement and hereby authorizes the highway superintendent, John Baxter, to execute the lease agreement. Whew. So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Town Board Resolution number 4107, 2021, authorizing acceptance of gifts to the Town of Pleasant Valley. Whereas pursuant to Town Law 64, (8), the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley may take a gift, grant, bequest, or devise and hold real and personal property absolutely or in trust for parks and or gardens, and for the erection of statues, monuments, buildings, or structures, and for any public use upon such terms and conditions that may be presented by the grantor or donor and accepted by said town, and provide for the proper administration of same. And whereas the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley has received a donation for recreational purposes, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley, on behalf of all the residents of the Town of Pleasant Valley, hereby gratefully accepts the donation from the family of Penny Hickman in the amount of $500 in remembrance of Penny Hickman for the Millsite Memorial Park.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Resolution number 4108, 2021, establishing the rates for the Pleasant Valley Summer Camp, Soccer Camp. Whereas the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley Recreation intends to operate a summer camp, and whereas the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley intends to operate PV Soccer Camp for 1 week, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Oh, that's not right.
That's AM.
AM. Somebody
AM.
typo here.
That's a long day.
Yeah. No rainy dates. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby establishes the tuition rates for the PB summer camp as follows: $65 per session for Pleasant Valley residents, $75 per session for eligible non-residents of Pleasant Valley. And therefore, be it further resolved that this is ineffective until further changed or modified by the town board.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 4109 of 2021. Appointment to 2021 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Day Camp Director and Recreational Leader. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley intends to operate various summer camp programs open to its residents, and where members of the public, whereas there is a vacancy in the Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp for the seasonal position of Day Camp Director, whereas part-time recreational leader Daniels.
How do you pronounce your last name, Daniel?
Salowitz, okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Has expressed interest in being appointed Day Camp Director from May 3rd, 2021 through August 7th, 2021. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Pleasant Valley, does hereby designate and appoint Danielle Salowitz, okay, got it, as Day Camp Director from May 3rd, 2021 through August 6th, 2021, and at her compensation will be $17 per hour, and there it be further resolved that Danielle Salazar shall resume her duties or full-time duties as part-time recreation, or full duties as part-time recreation leader effective August 8th, 2021 at $17 per hour.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
You want me to read this one? It's all the camp stuff.
You're probably better at pronouncing it.
We'll see. Appointment of 2021 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp Staff. Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby appoints the following 2021 camp staff: Assistant Day Camp Director / Camp Health Director, Tara.
Malansky.
Thank you, Tara Malansky. Recreation Specialist David Strathhausen. Returning counselors Samuel Marks, Sophie Pelletier, Chris Witten, Natalie Wood. New counselors are Aiden Haight, Morgan Malansky, Melissa Moran, Brandon Rao, Jack Scott, Nick Witten, and Paige Finelli. Counselors, part-time, Angel Abreu. And I'll make a motion.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, resolution number 4111 of 2021. Resolution implementing additional budgetary oversight. Mr. DeVecchio, you want to read this one?
Sure.
You're the
Well, it was just an extra step in our process of taxing, of the taxation process, that we've formed into a resolution, which is, whereas the town board of the town of Pleasant Valley is desirous of implementing an additional oversight during the budgetary process in order to ensure the future and accuracy of the residents' tax bills. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the following policy. After the adoption, the final budget, but before the transmittal of a budget worksheet to the county for production of tax bills, the town shall have the final budget and budget worksheet reviewed by an independent accounting firm appointed by the town board for accuracy. Upon approval of the accuracy of the town's final budget and the county's required budget worksheet, the town's bookkeeper shall certify the budget and transmit the proper worksheet to Dutchess County. Upon the return of the town's tax warrant from the county's tax collector, shall have the warrant reviewed by the town's duly appointed independent accounting firm for accuracy, who shall also randomly inspect no less than 5% of the town's total number of tax bills. Upon discovery of an error in any step articulated above, the discovering individual shall immediately notify the supervisor, the town board, and the town attorney in order to timely take corrective action. Resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
So moved.
I hear a second.
I'll make a second, but I want to talk about, I want to just, I'm just suggesting one small change, actually two small changes. Number 3 is where I stumble, because once the bills come back, as we've learned, there's nothing we can do. And I'm not saying take number 3 away, but what I'm saying is, I don't think, at that point, I don't think that we should pay somebody to look at them. I think we should audit them ourselves, but not do 5%, do 2%. Because if you're talking, out of 3,600 parcels, that's 180 tax bills that we have to go through. I'd rather go through 72 at 2%. I mean, like, we're just spot checking at this point.
How did we come up with 5% as opposed to 2%?
I have no idea.
Paul.
Oh.
So, the information we were given didn't have a number, so we tried to come up with something that was concrete, that was specific, and therefore that was a number. So,
I mean,
it could be whatever
we want, right? So,
yeah.
the reason I'm asking is because if you think about on average, which 3,600 parcels, I mean, that's not going to change too much. So, 5% is 180 bills, and if we're going to do it ourselves, I mean, if we don't catch it by the 72nd bill, I doubt we'll catch it by the 180th.
Well, I have to say, if there was an across-the-board error, I mean,
Right.
you look at half a dozen returns, you're going to see it.
Right, I mean, if it's across the board, we're going to pick 72 random samples from random tax bills just to verify that they're factual and accurate, right?
Absolutely. So we could certainly move that to 2%.
All right, so I think well, that's what I mean. So I think we changed number 3 to upon return of the town's tax warrants from the county, the town's tax collector shall review the warrant and randomly inspect no less than 2% of the town's total tax bills.
2%.
2%. And I think we just we do it.
You want to take out the independent?
Yeah, I think we take out the independent. I mean, we've learned from mistakes that it's too late at that point. I mean, we could pay somebody to do it, but at that point, we're just throwing, like, right. So what I'm saying is, upon the return of the town's tax warrant from the county, the town's tax collector shall review the warrant and randomly inspect no less than 2% of the total town's total number of tax bills.
But isn't that what it says?
No. Well, you're appointing somebody to do it. We're doing it.
It's going to be done in-house, that's the only difference.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to pay somebody to do it. Yeah.
Town's tax collector, that's...
Well, I do understand, Mary Beth, that you're looking at me because we're adding stuff for you to do, but why doesn't the board?
Why don't at least 2 board members do it with?
You want 2 board?
Well, it says here, upon a tax warrant from the county, the town's tax collector shall have the warrant reviewed. That's...
Yeah, but reviewed by the town's duly appointed independent accounting firm.
Have out of there, so we said shall review the warrant reviewed by 2 town
board members
And
Like, might as well make us, I
Okay.
mean, we pass it, we might as well be accountable for
So,
it.
John, the information that you provided to us had the independent accountant
Come back and check it again.
reviewing it.
Right.
I think what's being proposed is just somebody from the town, I don't think it's been established yet who, would do that random inspection.
Right.
I would say the two, should we?
So there are 2 town board members with the tax collector?
No, we'll do it instead of you. Like, we'll review it. Like, what we're saying is, when they come in, you'll review the warrant, make sure the total tax warrant meets what we were supposed to collect. And then we'll review, like, the town board will pick random samples of 72 bills, and we'll review them. Yeah. So 2 board members, instead of appointed independent accounting firm. That's all it needs to change. And then the 5% to 2%.
I have no problem with that.
No, I think it's a little more important that the accounting firm look at them before they go, not after they come back.
Correct.
Yeah. So, all right, so with those changes,
Can I just ask one question? How are the 2 town board members going to be selected? Is it going to be appointed by the supervisor, or?
that's a good question. Or unless you want to pick the 2.
Decide it from between the
Well, no,
five
I
of us
think
at the
we
time?
got
It's going to continue in perpetuity,
It's
so you
gonna
don't want
continue
to.
from year to
It's going to go for long past us.
You want to go to the 2, well, my first 2 cents would be the first 2 senior town board members, like John, you've been on the board longer than I have, so you would outrank me to do this if you wanted to.
So it would be, if you wanted to do this, make it that.
Yeah, the
The
2 senior town board members.
2 senior
Because
board members
there's 2 of us that change, or that could change every 2 years.
that have been there the
So the
longest.
two senior town board members. Or,
Okay, so to get persnickety, would that include the supervisor if, say, the supervisor's been around the longest?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
2 senior town board members and/or supervisor?
Well, just 2 senior town board members, he's on the board,
Yeah, I know.
he's on the board,
Just, mention supervisor.
so.
And down to 2%.
Keith motioned it, I seconded the motion.
But
I think we're done with
Hold on a
discussion.
second, but you have an amendment now, so you need to move the amendment, which
Okay,
I'm
I'll make a
assuming.
motion to move the amendment as we've just, 2 senior town board members and 2%.
Second.
Second.
We vote on the amendment, right?
Yes, you need to vote on the amendment.
All right, all in favor for the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you need to vote on the actual resolution as amended.
Okay.
So we have
We have a second, so
motion-
all in
motion and a
favor?
Second.
Yep.
Discussion we've had, all in favor?
All in favor, aye.
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 Okay.
Perfect, done.
Resolution number 4112, 2021, resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari proceeding regarding Thomas O. Boucher Jr. Whereas there is now pending in the Dutchess County Supreme Court a tax certiorari proceeding commenced on 2020 by Thomas L. Boucher Jr. regarding a parcel of unimproved vacant land located on Ward Road in the town of Pleasant Valley, tax grid number 6365-01-39-1787, seeking a reduction in the 2020 tax assessment for the respective tax roll. And whereas the town assessor and special counsel have recommended a settlement of this tax review proceeding, now therefore be it resolved, the town board of town of Pleasant Valley hereby approves the settlement on behalf of the town of Pleasant Valley and the tax review proceeding for the 2020 tax year as it pertains to Ward Road tax grid 6365-01-39-1787. Assessment roll 2020, original assessment 2,025,000, reduced settlement assessment 180,000, amount of reduction 45,000. And therefore further resolved that the town supervisor, town assessor, and Craig M. Wallace Esquire, special counsel of the town of Pleasant Valley, are hereby authorized to take all action necessary and appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to go into executive, unless we want to schedule, I mean, it is 10 o'clock, unless we want to schedule another meeting that we have.
What is the session?
It's like 4 or 5 things. At least let's talk about them, we can always schedule a meeting later.
Well,
You want to talk about them and then schedule a meeting?
I think that if it's what I think you're thinking about, I don't think we should wait too much longer.
All right, so I make a
I'll hang
motion that
in.
we go into executive session for 105.1F personnel. I need a Can I say? Oh, yeah. Aye. All right, I make a motion, let's turn this back on. I make a motion that we exit executive session at 10:33.
All in favor?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting